Hey, what's up, y'all? Billy from Permapastures Farm. Well, the weather kind of put the brakes on anything I planned on doing outside today. Can't complain. Went in there, checked on the microgreens. Everything is doing great. Better than I ever thought it would be. No complaints. I mean, everything is as it ought to be. It's winter. It gets cold. It gets really cold. But ask yourself, is the deductible on your vehicle worth more than the money you're about to make today? That's the question I would always ask myself when I was back working on my tools. So if the answer was no, or even if it was yes, the answer was probably still no. Anyway, here I am in the studio. Michelle's down there doing what she does every single time it's snowing. You know what that is? She's baking a bunch of stuff that she has no intention of ever eating. No, she wants everybody fat but her. Anyway, I think I'll oblige at least a little bit. You know, um, I guess I'll just kind of get right into it. We have all these political races and things going on right now, and everybody seems to be on pins and needles. Nobody can tell whether up is down and down is up. You're lied to up one side, down the other. But worst of all, it seems like most of us are completely okay with outsourcing our thoughts. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. So, I don't really fall into this left right paradigm that exists out there Republicans, Democrats, the whole nine yards. I don't play that game. The way I've always seen it, it's not red state, it's not blue state. It's really the state against you. One of the guys dropped out. I think it was Ramaswamy, whatever, Vivek. Anyway, he dropped out, and then what did he do? Immediately made an endorsement. No complaints, no nothing. The thing that bothers me about it, and it's not just now, it's not just this time. I've been asking this question for probably 25 years, and that question is, why does it matter? Why does anybody's endorsement matter? And I mean anybody. Outside of what I get out of the Bible, I mean, I'm putting to the test any endorsement I hear, unless it's somebody I seriously, seriously, seriously trust. But we're talking about a political election here. And think about where these endorsements come from. I'll come to the politicians here in a minute, but some of the most impactful endorsements, believe it or not, is from celebrities, in particularly actors. Well, let's just go back and do a little bit of a history lesson here. Do you know who was the least regarded in the classical age? I'm talking the people that were considered lower than low. You had this hierarchy in ancient Rome, okay? You had the patricians up here, and you had the plebs at the very, very bottom, okay? There were basically three different classes. Okay, at the top was somebody like Julius Caesar. At the bottom, in the classical age, would have been actors. I kid you not. Go check it out for yourself. Go look. You'll find out I'm right. Actors. Now, who are some of the people that are most highly esteemed these days? Actors. People that stand in front of a camera, like I'm kind of doing right now, but they are actors. That is their job. They were the least regarded, period. Why do we listen to them? Why does their endorsement even matter? These are people that live a level of hypocrisy that blows me away. The same actors that go out there and tell you, oh, the world's falling apart. We got to stay away from fossil fuel. We got to stay away from this. We got to do this. But meanwhile, they're on their jets and on their yachts and doing all these things. One of them in particular, I remember that little bobblehead, DiCaprio. Yeah, you're out there telling everybody they need to eat bugs and, all the other people like him. But meanwhile, you're on the first thing smoking on your private jet over to France, sitting on your boat, eating your tea and crumpets in the whole nine yards. Meanwhile, the rest of us, so why are we listening to them? Let me give you another example. Other people whose opinions are highly esteemed. How about athletes? Ask yourself, go do the research and find out how many professional football players graduate with a degree outside of basket weaving. You dig what I'm saying? Some of them I know very closely. I knew one professional athlete very well, personally. Spent 5 years in college and supposedly graduated. But when he went back to school, he didn't even have enough credits to get an associate's degree. So how did that happen? But we listen to people like LeBron James and all the other people like him out there, the same hypocritical people that, have these high thoughts about everything else, politics and you name it. But meanwhile, they're in bed with, I don't even think I could say who it is, but they're in bed with these people that make shoes in certain parts of the world where essentially their workforce consists primarily of slaves. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to listen to you regarding anything. Another one that gets me. Singers. They're all artists these days, but once upon a time when I was a kid, they were called singers. Go read that book by Dave McGowan, talking about the counterculture of the 60s and how all of those bands of that time and how they were hooked up with the intelligence agencies, particularly the CIA, right here in the United States of Amnesia. And then ask yourself, is there a puppeteer, working these marionettes that are dancing on stage and telling you what to think, telling you what to believe, telling you who to vote for? They get a whole collaboration of people that actually write the music, people that actually play the music, people that do all these other things, and these people that stand on stage, these artists, are really nothing more than front people for a label. Most of them talentless, but somehow I'm supposed to dispense with my own common sense and believe what these people say just because you can shake your booty up on a stage like Beyonce. How about billionaires? Okay, I will agree. These people had to, by and large, not all of them, had to demonstrate at least some level of business intelligence to achieve what they have. I mean, they clearly didn't ascend to those positions in most cases that I'm aware of without, having some smarts about a certain thing or that. But how many intelligent idiots have you met in your life? People that were really, really smart about a laser beam focused smart about a certain thing, but could barely walk through a door without bumping their own heads. We've all known those people. But do you trust their politics? Do you trust their opinion? I mean, if it's regarding business, just like I said with the basketball players, yeah, maybe I want to listen to you. But regarding other things, once again, we dispense our own common sense because this person has money. How about doctors, and particularly MDs? And by the way, MD doesn't stand for medical deity, you dig? Met a lot of doctors in my life. Might have been smart regarding allopathic medicine, but not necessarily natural healing. Don't ask the questions about what are you eating? How are you sleeping? How's your stress? How are the other things in your life? But no, we're going to go ahead and hand out some of these pills like Halloween candy. These same doctors were the same ones out there telling you, endorsing, how do I say this? How do I make you read between the lines on this? Endorsing certain treatments that are now causing unbelievable harm. Those were doctors. And just because a person's a doctor, you know who else was a doctor? Jolly and West. You know who else was a doctor? Mangala. There was a whole lot of doctors out there that have been some of the biggest mass murderers, really, when you get down to brass tacks. We seem to think that they have a greater share of common sense because a person has PhD behind his or her name, or MD, or doctor in front of it. We just dispense with our understanding, thinking that that person has a greater share of common sense, but they're wrong. How about the political pundits out there? And the ones that get me most are the ones that are on mainstream TV. Some of them actually are so, they have the audacity to actually wear CIA lapel pins out there. Yeah, those people exist. We seem to think that just because they fit into a political narrative or because they're on a particular station, that once again, these people are informed. When you see me in this platform, it is essentially an appeal to authority. We seem to think that just because a person has a good haircut, maybe they're good looking, maybe they wear a suit and tie, maybe all those things, we just dispense, and especially through the medium of TV, we tend to think that they know what they're talking about. Well, guess what? I've worked in the radio industry. Almost 10 out of 10 of the people I knew that worked in that industry had zero understanding at all of the real issues when they were away from that microphone. In fact, in many cases, they're being told what to say. They don't even write their own script. They're reading a teleprompter. Unlike me right now. This is teleprompter free, by the way. I saved the best for last. Religious leaders. A lot of them, in my opinion, are just downright hirelings. Just like the MDs I talked about a minute ago, we're telling you to go line yourself up for certain treatments. Have you heard an apology from any of them? Because I haven't. Those same leaders out there are telling you believe this certain way, but they don't offer any scripture to back it up. Or, have your perfect life now. Or you just got to be happy. But it's funny, these same people that say you just got to be happy are never the same people saying you just got to be responsible. Yeah, there's a whole lot of people out there tickling ears right now because they fill up the pews and tell people what they ought to think. But once again, we dispense with our understanding and our own common sense just because that person's standing behind a podium on the stage. Now, I know I'm stepping on some toes with some of this stuff, but it goes right back to the godfather of propaganda, and that's Edward Bernays. Getting back to the political system here. I mean, politicians, do I even really need to cover those guys? I mean, everybody generally knows that 99% of all of them are just profligate liars. Same with the press. Prostitute liars. I don't even need to cover them. You should know already that you shouldn't trust them right out of the gate. Consider what these people say, because it really is a mark of a real thinker to hear all arguments without necessarily agreeing or disagreeing with them. That's why half of the podcasts in my phone are people I don't even like, people I don't agree with, but I want to know what they think. There's nothing wrong with that. So at the end of the day, gather all this stuff for yourself, collate it in your mind, and then ask yourself, okay, do I see any fallacies here? Do I see any contradictions? Are there things that don't make sense? Did I do the who, what, where, when, why, and how for myself? We're handing over our agency to a bunch of people that, by and large, if you really knew them, you would not even let them in the front door of your house. You'd probably not even let them babysit your dog. So why on earth does an endorsement even matter from 99% of these people? All right, y'all, hopefully this was a blessing to you. If you need anything from us, bone sauce, world's best deer repellent. It's not a panacea, but it's the best out there. Go check out the website. Anything else we need, butchering course, you name it, it's all down below. All right, y'all, thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next time.